Hello and welcome to another episode of Motors for the Masses, and yes, we are back on the NTV, and today we are going to be making this a permanent fixture. That's the Mudguard. Yes, we're going to do that. I'm also going to drill the holes and mount the battery box, and then we're going to take a look at that exhaust. I've got a feeling it's going to be loud and it might need some demodification to make it not so loud, but we'll see. So for now, let's roll the intro and get cracking. Right, so as you know or may not know, I'm using the Mudguard off a Bullet Hero Scrambler 125, and it needs to sit around there, about an inch above the tyre. Two reasons for that: one, because it sort of goes with the theme, and two, if I was to have it any lower, it would get jammed between these two stanchions. Now I could take a piece out and have it sit there, but again, I don't think that's high enough. I think it needs to be up there. So what I'm going to do, now again, there was two ways of doing it. This is the bracket that comes with the bike. It's going to go on there like so. To be about that high, what I'm going to do is grind these tabs off, or this tab off, weld on a new tab to marry up with these two holes here, either side of the stanchion, and then I'm going to extend these bars and move this down to the bottom, and then I'll just bolt onto the bottom of the stanchion down there. So that's the plan. Time to put it into action, he says with oodles of positivity. So, just bolted that on there for a second. That needs to be about that height. Obviously there's going to be a bracket go around the back as well, but we'll worry about that later. For now, so I'm going to go with that kind of height. So now I need to do is measure how long these need to be. So from the bottom, that's 7 centimetres. Just check this side. Yep, 7 centimetres. So I need to extend each bar by 7 centimetres to get the height I want. You know what they say, measure twice, cut once. So we'll do that one more time. That's about level there. There, 7. Okay, 7 centimetres on the bar. So 7 centimetres extending the bar, and then weld that to the bottom of the new bar. The hardest part is finding bar. Rather than find some bar and extend it, I've got another one of these off the same bike, off the Bullet Hero. So all I'm going to do is cut off the old bracket and then measure 7 centimetres from the bottom of this and just use the bottom of that, and then weld that onto there and leave this bracket on, so I haven't got to move the bracket. Fantastic! And then I can use this as a tab to go on the other side, or I might actually make up some new ones, to be fair, because I think I've got to extend them. So yes, that's where we're going. Okay, so I have cut off the brackets like so that were on this one. They're gone. Ground that down, ready to weld. I've cut a little slot in there and a little slot in there, so when I put that on there and weld it on, it's got somewhere for the weld to melt in the middle rather than just weld around the outside. Okay, so I shall grind it down, but I put a little kink in it to try and put it in and then out. So basically that's going to bolt on there, like so, and then we've got some decent height. So now the mudguard will sit, if I can keep that at the right level. I've done that because if I go straight up, it's really hard to weld in here because I've got to put a kink in it, or put a slit in it. I might have to rethink that. I might have to snap it off and start that again, to be honest. But for now, the height is right. Oh, that rhymes. There, that's where it needs to be, up there. Perfect height in there, like so. So the extension's all right. I think I'm going to have to cut a bigger slot. I might sleeve it and then weld the sleeve on. So basically I'm going to weld it, put that on there like that, and get a bit of metal and sleeve from here down to here, wrap it round and weld in there to make it nice and solid. Because it's always difficult to weld an end on something. I put a slit in it, but I don't think it's strong enough, to be honest, because it's a very thin bit of metal. Again, not a professional welder. So I think I'm going to put a sleeve, or I've got a wrap around it and then weld the wrap on. Does that make sense? So for that I need a thin piece of metal. So I might come back to this, but that's where the process is. For now, to make it more interesting, let's move on to the exhaust. So, I apologise for the grinding sound, but over the road they were grinding something outside, so I apologise for that noise, but you did hear just how loud that was, and it can't be that loud. I don't think you can comprehend on the camera, even with the boom mic, just how loud it was. It was ridiculous. So, I'm going to put a baffle in it. Now, I've taken the exhaust off. I've got a baffle or a DB killer that I'm going to put inside the pipe that was made up, and then bolt it to the inside of that, and it should slot inside here. So we'll do that and see if it makes a difference. So like this, the DB killer I have rammed inside there. Fits just nice and snug, very nice and snug indeed. I've measured where I need to put it so I can pull it out and find out where to drill the hole. And I will weld a nut on the inside of this and then screw it through on there and then slot that on the end, and hopefully that should reduce the sound a little bit. Lovely jubbly, success. So what I've done is drilled a hole in my nice new TIG welded pipe, and managed to bolt. I've welded the captive nut, as you saw, on the inside of the DB killer, screwed that on there, so that is nice and solid. Now all I need to do is cut a slot out of here. You can see where I've drawn, might not be able to because it's black on black. It's there, so I'm just going to cut a slot down there for this nut to slide over, and then that will clamp on nicely. So I'll get that done, get it in place, and we'll fire it up again just to see if it's any quieter. I hope so. If not, then we're going to have to attempt some wadding. Oh, not quite wide enough. Try again. Okay, success. That's in there. And now, time to put it back on the bike and see if it's any quieter. Yeah, still too loud.